Hello everybody, I've come to read you a story. It's called One Snowy Night and it's written by Nick Butterworth. I hope you enjoy it. It's cold in the park in winter, but Percy the park keeper, he doesn't mind. He puts on his warm coat and his big scarf round his neck and he wears 2 pairs of woolly socks inside his Wellington boots. Percy, he likes to be out in the fresh air. You see him having a talk to the robin. In the middle of the park, there is a little hut. This is where Percy lives. When it gets too cold to be outside, Percy goes into his hut, where it's cosy, and nice and warm. You see his hut? The animals who live in the park all know Percy's hut. Every day he shares his lunch with them. How kind! One winter's night, it was so cold it began to snow. Great big snowflakes fell past the window of Percy's hut. Can you see that? "Ooh," said Percy. "I think I need an extra blanket tonight." He made himself some hot cocoa and got ready for bed. Suddenly, Percy heard a tapping noise. There was somebody at the door. "Who could that be?" thought Percy. He went to the door and looked out. There on the step was a squirrel. Oh, it looked very cold and miserable. "I can't get to sleep, Percy," said the squirrel. "My bed is full of snow." "Oh dear," said Percy. "Never mind, I've got plenty of room for 2. The squirrel, he snuggled down next to Percy and soon began to feel warm. Knock, knock. It was that door again. Now who could that be, thought Percy. Standing outside were 2 shivering rabbits. "Oh, it's freezing," said one rabbit. "We're frozen," said the other. "Oh, you poor things," said Percy. "Come in and warm up." The rabbits squeezed into the bed next to Percy and the squirrel. There wasn't much room. "Could you face the other way?" said Percy. "Your tail is tickling my nose." "Oh dear," said Percy. "Now there's somebody else at the door. I wonder who it could be." It was a fox. Oh, he did look very cold and hungry. "Can I come in too?" he asked. You see him, he's even got snow on his head. Percy, he scratched his head and he had to think for a minute. "Well, if you promise to behave," he said. "Oh, I promise," said the fox. And he squeezed into the bed next to all the other animals. Boom! Oops! The squirrel fell out. "Who did that?" asked the squirrel crossly. "Good gracious," said Percy. "It's the door again." This time Percy had quite a surprise. There, on the step, was a badger, 2 ducks, a hedgehog and a whole family of mice. They all wanted a bed for the night. Can you see them all? Oh, it must have been cold. Poor old Percy and poor old Percy's bed. The animals pushed and shoved and rolled around the bed, but there was just not enough room for them all. Soon, the bed covers ended up in a big tight ball. Then, bump! The covers rolled right off the bed and everybody fell on the floor. Oh dear, said Percy. This won't do at all. My bed is just too small. Suddenly, one of the mice pricked up his ears. What's that noise? He squeaked. Everybody listened really hard. Now they could all hear it. There was some scratching and scraping sounds. It seemed to be coming from underneath them. There's something moving under the floor, whispered Percy. The animals, they looked frightened, and the mice all started to squeak, squeak, squeak at once. Oh dear, what could it be? It might be a monster with fierce claws and sharp big teeth. The noise grew louder and louder. Then one of the floorboards began to move. Look out! It's coming up through the floor! Suddenly there was a loud creak. Help! Cried the animals, and they all ran to hide, all in different places. But Percy, he wasn't frightened. He started to chuckle. And he laughed out loud. A dark, small head was sticking up through the floorboards. Can you see? That isn't a monster, said Percy. It's a mole. I'm sorry to burst in like this, said the mole. I knocked on your door, but nobody heard me. Percy helped the mole up through the hole in the floor, sat him on his hot water bottle to get warm, and put the floorboard back. It's all right, everyone, he called. You can come out now. Come on, come out. But nobody moved. Nobody stirred. Nobody wanted to come out. The squirrel was tucked away in the pocket of Percy's dressing gown. The hedgehog was in his coat. The fox, the rabbits, the badger and the ducks were all safely hidden away. The mice had even squeezed themselves into Percy's slippers. Everyone had found a cosy bed. Well, I never, said Percy. Can you see them all hiding? Where would you hide? Percy, he yawned and snuggled down in his own bed again. Oh, that's better. Now I've got plenty of room. Oh, and a little to spare. For a mole. Can you see him? That's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed One Snowy Night. See you soon.